Let's demystify business process reengineering. This topic is classic APM. At first glance, it doesn't seem too bad. It's usually less than a page of bullet points in your course notes, and if you decide to go deeper in the textbook, it's less than 2 pages. However, students often have trouble with this topic. First of all, many candidates don't really understand what it's all about and mistake it for a specific type of IT improvement, like radio frequency ID tags. Secondly, students often have trouble applying the principles of BPR to the scenario. And this is a critical skill that you need to develop if you want to get a pass on APM. I'd like to do 2 things with you in this video. First, I'd like to review the principles of BPR to make sure that you know what it's all about. And secondly, I'd like to apply these principles to a real-world example so we can practice the first step of exam technique together, developing ideas. Let's start by talking about what BPR is not. And it's not the same thing as process improvement. Several years ago, when I used to teach an APM class, after the class, I would put everyone's emails into the BCC line, send off my course notes. And then at some point, I started to use the cloud. And instead of emailing the files to each individual student, I would upload those files to the cloud and share the link, saving me time. This is not really business process reengineering. This is simply making one activity in the process of running a course more efficient. BPR is really about a fundamental rethink and redesign of an entire process, looking at all of the activities in that value chain. It implies starting fresh, starting from a blank page. We don't need to bring forward any of our past assumptions. And it's not just a cost reduction activity, but it's about making our business more responsive to our customers. It's about finding a new source of competitive advantage. How can we make our company different from our competitors? We can use these 4 words to boil business process reengineering down to its basics. It's about a fundamental change of operations of some area of our business. No assumptions are brought forward. It's about a radical redesign. It's not just improving one activity. It's about dramatic change. We're looking for big leaps in performance improvement, not just a simple incremental change. And we are looking at a whole process, as I said, not just steps in a process. BPR can potentially have a big impact on our business. If we are redesigning our processes, people are doing things in a new way, they're working differently, so staff roles may change. The organization structure may change as well. We might need fewer operational workers, we might need an enlarged IT department, staff might have access to more information. So the structure of the organization has the potential to change. And if we're doing new things, we have new processes, we might have to measure our activities in a new way. We're going to look at all of this shortly with a real business example. That's BPR in a nutshell. It's not that complicated. However, before you dive deeper, before you go into your textbook and read more, I think it makes more sense to look at a real example of BPR. That's what I do when I try to understand a difficult topic. Let's do that together now. Let's look at Amazon.com's acquisition of the Kiva robot company about 10 years ago as an example of business process reengineering. In this photograph, we see an Amazon.com distribution center. We see a lonely worker navigating through a sea of books with a cart, either looking to take things off the shelf or put things back. This worker is called a picker, and in the order fulfillment industry, It's a standard role. For this person to do their job, they need information. They need to understand where something is. They need to understand how to get there. They need to know where to take it after they've gotten it. It can be a time-consuming process, and you can imagine if a customer orders a book and a computer part and maybe a cat toy, well, all of these items will be stored in different areas of the warehouse. So different pickers would go on a quest for those items, and then they would be brought to a batching station where the orders would then be combined. It's a time-consuming process, and it's a competitive industry. And about 10 years ago, Amazon's objective was geographic growth. And one of the ways they wanted to achieve that was by implementing robots in their order fulfillment system. Let's look at that project and let's see if it meets the definition of business process reengineering. Amazon's plan was to begin replacing people with robots. Rather than sending human pickers into a massive warehouse with a list of things to get, now robots will bring the goods directly to a stationary employee. This employee is standing in one place at their station, and these robots bring racks of inventory right to the picker's station. Now the worker just takes the item from the delivered inventory rack and they place it directly into the shipping box. There's no need to batch orders together anymore. So this is a radical redesign of this order fulfillment process. The final activity the robots complete is to take the completed boxes to the packing station where they are. Padding is included, they're taped up, and they go right onto the delivery truck. I think that is fascinating technology. Kind of scary, isn't it? Robots replacing people. Well, let's bring it back to APM. And I've got 5 questions for you about this Amazon.com robotics initiative. These questions are similar to the questions you might be asked in your APM exam. First off, would you consider that initiative business process reengineering or a simple process improvement? Secondly, what is the impact of this initiative on the company? Can you think of some ideas? Can you use your imagination, your business acumen? What are some benefits that this robotic system might bring to Amazon? What are some potential issues? And finally, what performance metrics could we use to measure the success of this project? We could use these metrics before the implementation and then after. This is what's going to happen in APM. You're going to need to use your business imagination to generate ideas and give advice. So I'd like you to pause the video now, think about these questions, and if you'd like, you can put into Google Amazon robotics and you can find many more videos of this fascinating technology. So maybe you'd like to watch a bit more of the robots in action. When you come back, I'll share my ideas with you and we can compare our notes. Welcome back. How did you do? Were you able to generate some ideas? Let me share with you what I came up with. Would you describe the robotics implementation as business process reengineering? I would. That was clearly a radical redesign of their operations, of their workflow, of how they do their core activities. How would this implementation impact the organization? I think it would have a big impact on the stakeholders of the organization, especially the employees. I think there will be downsizing for sure of the operational workforce. The pickers are replaced by robots, and this process is 3 times more efficient. 3 times as many orders per hour can go out the door. So some of the workforce will be invited to potentially leave. The others, well, big change in how they do their work. They no longer need to walk around the warehouse. They will be standing in one place. They will be performing their job in a completely different manner. The IT department, of course, will become bigger, will become more powerful. Operations will change. They'll need to completely redesign their distribution centers. They need to change the layout of the buildings. They need to modify the lighting, the floors, so the robots have markers so they can find their way around. We also see this initiative giving Amazon competitive advantage. They acquired that robotics company. This means they will control it. This means they will block their competitors from gaining access to it if they so wish. Did you see any benefits that this technology might bring the company? Ooh, I think there are many. Faster throughput time, so the orders will be fulfilled faster. Apparently, the quality is also improved as there are fewer errors. The cost per order might go down as more orders are being processed per hour. Yes, the fixed costs might go up, but they will be spread over more deliveries. Improved flexibility. New products can be added into the product portfolio faster than ever before. Do you see any potential issues? Well, I saw increase in risk. Now the company is more reliant on technology. So if there is a technology glitch, it has the possibility of greater impact. It's going to be expensive. The acquisition was $800 million, I believe, at the time. I think it was the biggest acquisition at that point Amazon had ever made. And of course, the project costs will be huge. Variable costs per order might go down, but fixed costs will go up. So the company will be exposed to higher operational risk or higher operational gearing as fixed costs will become a greater percentage of the total costs. I'm sure you thought of many other issues the company might face. Those are just some of my initial thoughts. Performance metrics. APM team, this is a critical skill that you need to develop, being able to either recommend performance metrics or evaluate someone else's performance metrics in a new, unfamiliar situation. Well, when I watched the video and thought about performance metrics, because they do ask you about performance metrics related to BPR in your APM exam, I thought of several. One of the main objectives of the robots was to improve the order time. Well, we could measure time per order before and after the implementation to measure its success. We could also measure cost per order to see if we're getting a financial benefit from the robots. We could then use that to determine a return on investment. We could measure the error rate of the packaging process. The Kiva robots are supposed to reduce mistakes, so let's see if that's true. We could measure the error rate before and after. Friends, we looked at business process re-engineering. We looked at the core elements of the theory that you need to know, and then we applied those ideas to a real example. In the next video, we will continue our discussion of business process re-engineering. We'll take what we learned in this video and apply it to a real exam question. If you are stuck on a technical topic in APM and the book is not resonating, close the book and find a real-world example. It's one of the best ways to make sense of these tricky topics.